and gentlemen, the big debate on flying scare. Has flying by air become more dangerous? After the Air India crash on the 12th of June, data of Google Trends shows that searches for the term flying fear in India has hit peak popularity. There is a spike in the number of people going for therapy to overcome the fear of flying. And people pay $500 or rupees 42,000 for this flying fear. And these fears are not unfounded. The Director General of Civil Aviation's recent audit on airports, including Delhi and Mumbai, have thrown up some horrifying facts. Cancellations have been detected due to worn-out tires of aircraft. Runways were unmarked. Technical defects were recurring and monitoring was ineffective. After the recent crash, there were a spate of flight cancellations across airlines. In the month of May, 10% flights were cancelled due to technical snags. It was 25% in April and 47% in March. After the Ahmedabad plane crash, Air India saw 83 cancellations in just 6 days. However, the airline says not all were due to technical glitches. It cited extra checks, nighttime restrictions in Europe and airspace closures in the Middle East as other reasons. Also, breaking news coming in at this point. On the Newshour tonight, top aviation sources have revealed exclusively to Times Now that the Air India crash is going to be examined right here in India. The black box will not be sent to America. It will instead be analyzed in the AAIB lab in Delhi. Joining me to give us more details on this breaking information is my colleague Hina Gambhir. Hina, what are the latest details that you have?
Well, Navika, we have moved a step closer in finding out what was the reason behind this plane crash that happened in Ahmedabad. One important update is that crash protection module or crash protection memory unit that was part of the black box has been safely retrieved. Now, that is point number one, and that is going to be analyzed now by the team that is probing this particular case led by AAIB. What we can tell our viewers is that this black box unit, initially reports were suggesting was going to be sent to the United States of America. So that's not going to happen. In fact, the analysis is happening here in India only. The black boxes, both of them have been sent to the national capital on 24th of June. Data extraction is underway. It's not being sent to the US. They've managed to successfully download the data. And last important update is before 10th of July, preliminary findings can be expected as far as this probe is concerned.
Well, Hina Gambhir, we expect the report of this flight, the crash, the reasons to be out by 10th of July, and that is something everybody wants to know because the fear of flying, not good for anybody in India, certainly not good for business and airlines and those looking to do business in different locations. Joining me on this debate on why we still have this fear of flying, joining me is Suhail Seth, marketing guru, columnist. Also joining me, Captain Amit Singh, aviation expert, Wing Commander K. Dinesh, fear of flying specialist and aviation consulting from Zoom. I want to ask you, Wing Commander K. Dinesh, fear of flying specialist, I mean, it's almost like this is a vocation. Do you think this fear that people are experiencing are real at this point in time, or are we making too much out of it? Because so many cancellations does put people on the edge.
So I agree that the fear of flying is irrational, but then it's manifesting in a person. So it is definitely something that is affecting everyone, and mainly the passengers. So it is definitely it's got a profound effect on the passengers per se. So I think it's an important factor to be considered when we have any accident, whether it is here or it's globally anywhere.
But do you think these fears are real? Do they have a basic, Captain Captain Amit Singh?
Well, fear is, when does fear set in? So there's a typical example in World War II when the bombs were falling on London. So people on whom the bombs were falling, they were closest to the site. So they had fear. People outside, as you move outside, the fear decreases. So when accident comes closer to you, which means somebody in your family or your distant family is affected, then fear sets in. So that is the basic way the fear works. And here it is propounded by the fact that there is no communication from the central government or the AIB, who's we assume is investigating the accident. So since nothing is coming out, nobody is trying to give information either to the public or to the family members, because they want to know what happened and why their near ones perished. So that is also increasing the fear factor. Boeing 787 Boeing itself has a cultural issue which they have been facing right from the 737s in the 80s, then the 747 and 787, we had the battery fires and the MAX. There's a US court ruling which said that Boeing was aware of known design defects and they did not act on it because they had an immunity, third-party immunity, which was later taken away. So these are all, when we combine...
So you're saying these reasons have existed since the 80s. But Suhail said, the question many are asking tonight is, why should there be so many cancellations? Some people say there are increased, checks that have been introduced. So are we saying that we did not check, initially? What was the DGCA doing? The DGCA comes out with a report just a few days ago. And if the DGCA is saying now that airports have these problems, runways have problems, tires of planes are worn out in some cases, I want to ask, were there no checks before this? Have they woken up now? All of this, is there a systemic problem that we are looking at? Or is this just random, suddenly something that the regulator is now doing? We'll get used to it after everything goes back to business as usual.
So first, I must say this is a remarkable television program where we are moving from Freud to flying. You know, the fear of flying. I mean, there's someone who's actually doing this. I think it's amazing. You should all actually get into flying therapy, as to why people shove their clothes down toilets and then clog the toilets. I mean, there's a whole universe of vocational expansion there. I want to touch upon 3 points that you made, Navika. Number one, if the regulator does it, he's damned. If the regulator doesn't do it, he's damned. So what do? A, B, Amit Singh rightly on one of the programs earlier perhaps said that, there are a lot of systemic errors. Amit Singh is now even talking about Boeing's cultural issues. So where does this whole thing come? Amit Singh or someone said just now, families haven't been told, government of India is silent. I don't know if, Amit, you're on Twitter or you read newspapers or watch Navika Kumar's programs or Times Now channel. There is a huge press release, 2 pages, if I read right, on what is happening with the black box and the investigation. They are not going to come to your house or to mine and tell each individual that, this is what we're doing this way. There's an investigation. You're a flying expert. You're a captain. You, more than any of us, are the expert on this panel. You should know that the crash happened on June the 12th. The black box was recovered. Most of your colleagues, most of your so-called aviation experts said, India doesn't have the capability of decoding. India doesn't have the capability of analyzing. India has shown the capability. Let the analysis happen. You know why there's fear? There's fear because we stoke fear. There is fear because we spread misinformation. There is fear because we provide half-baked information. There is fear because we try to, throw the baby with the bathwater, that nothing is right with Indian aviation. Let me tell you, Mr. Captain Singh, I served on the Global Advisory Board of British Airways. I may not know as much about flying, and I never pretend to. You're absolutely right. This is the time when you have to instill confidence. Some of the steps that the regulator is taking today may seem to you as steps taken post haste or post facto. But these are actually steps, you could look at it the other way. These are steps being taken in order to further instill confidence in the flying public, in the brave men and women who serve as crew and pilots of our airlines. So I think, to my mind, I see it as a glass half full. I don't see a bottomless pit in this.
Captain Amit Singh, the DGCA find all these problems suddenly? Why did they find it? Is that a logical question to ask or not?
Yeah,
course
Mr.
it's
Seth is
logical,
very
but I'm
eloquent,
giving
but
the
without
answer.
substance. So let me add substance to that. If you see the surveillance report of DGCA, which is out in the public domain, same issues have been highlighted in 2023. Markings not there, repetitive snags, etc., etc. And 2022 and so on. So why do we leave all these things open? If Air India was not or was pushing the pilots beyond their flight duty time limits, what was the deterrent? Just a fine. But the fine didn't work. So what did we do? Nothing. So we have to look back at the history. We cannot start from this point. Yes, we have to give confidence to the passengers that air travel is still the safest. But the objective of ICAO, the international organization, is zero accidents. How do we achieve that zero accidents? Until we have a culture of safety. DGCA cannot be there everywhere. The airlines or the operators, airport operators have to do self-governance, and the safety has to be their responsibility. So somebody has to take moral responsibility. In this accident, nobody has taken. Neither the CEO nor the group CEO nor the minister.
No, Navika, you cannot allow statements to go across.
Okay,
you can't say no one has taken responsibility. The chairman of Tata Sons needn't have given an interview to you where he answered every question of yours without dodging a single one. Number one. Number two, let me counter what Amit Singh is saying. Let me counter what he's saying. His point is that there is no culture of safety. That airport operator, and he's singling out Air India because I don't know why. Now here's the point. If the airports do not have markings on them, it is the airport operator, not the airline. When you have to reason with logic, don't be illogical because of your agenda-driven dislike for an issue or an airline or a person. Number one. Number two, now let me come to the key point that Amit Singh and the other gentleman very rightly made. I believe India's ecosystem is perfect for aviation, but there is no such thing as a perfect storm. All airports are work in progress. I travel more than most of you
work
people.
In progress. Mangalore accident recommendations have not been implemented. Calicut accident recommendations have not been implemented.
I'm a very good interrupter.
It will always be a work in progress.
I can interrupt you till kingdom
come. What is the point?
So don't interrupt me. Let me finish. I gave you the decency of a response without interrupting you. No. What substance do you have? Let me finish. I will only say one thing now. I think the regulator today is taking the right steps. Do not find fault with everything. You know, the thing in this country now is we have a problem for every solution. You get a bunch of experts who have either, personal issues, agenda-driven points.
I'm giving you solutions. I have done surveys. I have worked on safety.
You didn't even know that you had no idea that the government of India had actually issued a directive through the Press Information Bureau about the status of the investigation. You didn't even know that.
What is the status of investigation?
Well, 1 minute. Wing Commander Dinesh wants to come in. Wing Commander Dinesh, fear of flying is one side of the spectrum. On the other side is everything is hunky-dory. The truth is somewhere in between. I want to ask you, the DGCA, according to Captain Amit Singh, brought out a similar report in 23, in 22. If it brings it out today, it's the same things happening again. Do you agree that if planes are flying every day and many planes fly every day multiple times, the whole drill will be repeated and some of these issues will come repeatedly, or does this take away from the safety? I want to ask you that question.
Okay, so how we understand this whole thing is that there is a regulatory requirement and there is a concept of exceeding the regulatory requirement. So most of the things that we are talking about, we meet the regulatory requirement. Okay, but safety is enhanced only when you exceed the regulatory requirement. So our effort, whether it's DGCA or the airline or anyone, should be to exceed the regulatory requirement, and that is, I think, the effort. If you look at the report, most of them are very routine things. Most of them are very, very routine things. Okay, I was just going through the report, and I think we must flag out of those 15 points. Those 15 points, if you put for the public, now I'm talking from a fear of flying perspective, because there are two perspectives. One is a fear of flying, and other is the airline, or rather the aviation ecosystem perspective. That is the specialists who are in the aviation setup.
Okay.
So things like the obstruction limitation data is not updated. Now this is definitely horrific, because if you remember the Ahmedabad accident which had happened, the Aurangabad accident which had happened way back in 1993, it went and stuck a truck on the takeoff, and whereas the truck was not supposed to be there as per the obstruction
You're
chart.
absolutely right. Lessons have to be learnt, and these strict checks have to be done, not once, not twice, but repeatedly, because there's nothing called enough safety. Safety has to get it right every time, every single time. It's not sometime, it's not once in a while, but every single time. And there's nothing like above the safety mark. We always have to get it right. There's no scope of error, simply because civil aviation means civilians are flying. And when civilians are flying in large numbers, well, they have to be protected. And safety is something that can't be left on a song and a prayer. Are there lessons learned? Are we going to get to know the truth from the black box, which is now going to be decoded in India? Are we going to get the report on the 10th of July and not an extension? Well, all of those questions stay there, because people want to know answers of what went wrong and what needs to be set right. Only then we will have closure. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on the News Hour. With that, it's a wrap on the News Hour. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back tomorrow with a new debate on the same show, the News Hour at 9.